Oh man, I really wanted to like this. I really wanted to love this. But at the end of the day, it was so just okay. But yeah, let's get to the business, I guess. In this video, we're going to be reviewing Ghostwire Tokyo and deciding whether it is worth it to buy right now or not. And probably this one was my shortest verdict ever. And the answer is, well, kind of yes, but really not. I did not love this game. The game had so much potential. It seemed so great. Game is absolutely beautiful, but at the end of the day, it just became Far Cry, and not the good Far Cry, the bad one. And if you just skip it and not play it at all, I'm absolutely sure that you will not regret it ever in your life. But you know what? You need the details, and let's get to the one. Oh, and by the way, our Steam Curator page is already up and running, so if you want to see all of my reviews, videos, and a little bit of text review right there on Steam before you're gonna buy anything, just go and follow us there on Steam so that you will not miss my reviews when you are buying the games. Now back to the video. Ghostwire Tokyo is actually open world action game. And yes, you probably didn't know that it was open world. I didn't at first either. And story-wise, which is the game's strongest point, you are playing as a, well, guy called Akito. And well, in the beginning of the game, you kind of die. But right as you die, your body will be possessed by a certain entity called KK. Yeah, by the way, no spoilers except for the first few minutes of the game. And while this is happening, well, actually entire Tokyo is overtaken by a certain force. And practically everyone in the city is dying. Well, rather, everyone in the city has their souls ripped out their bodies, and city is being flooded by some kind of mist that kills everyone, and also visitors, which are basically some kind of entities like demons. And because you're possessed by KK, you are actually gain the ability of spectral weaving, I think. This your hand waving ability, and practically you gain some kind of magical abilities. And the entire story revolves around finding what's happening and how you can actually fix the situation and maybe fix yourself as well. And at first, story-wise, it looks pretty great. The first chapter is more like a linear experience which like introduces you to the world, but then after a while you are introduced to the open world, and that's where the game actually completely breaks down for me. Before we're gonna get to that, let's talk about the gameplay. Gameplay wise, this is your kind of like typical action RPG, or if you want to call this RPG, it's more like an action game rather than RPG. You're leveling up, you have a leveling system, you have perk system, and you have build system. Well, when you level up, you can gain your abilities, your perks, and etc, etc. It's extremely simple. The leveling is as by the books as it can be. And combat wise, you have a few different abilities and a few different ways to dispatch your enemies. Well, first things, you have your kind of your magic, your spectral weaving, which has three different elements. It has air, water, and fire. They have different utilities. Air is like more your machine guns, your quick attacks. Water is like your shotgun or area attacks, and fire is your powerful attacks. And you actually have a limited amount of charges. And as you fight and deal enough damage, you also unlock the hearts of your enemies, and you can basically rip those hearts out of them. Well, it's not a real heart, it's like the cores, and by doing that you gain some of your charges back, and you destroy the enemies. But some enemies have more than one charge, so you have to account for that. Enemies wise, these are your demonic creatures, like your faceless people, your headless people, your demon-like creatures. And at first I thought that this would be kind of like a horror experience, a scary experience, but it wasn't. Like, it wasn't scary at all. It for sure was kind of like an eerie experience, but it was not scary at any point. Or maybe I'm soulless and don't feel anything anymore, I don't know. And first few hours seems pretty fun. You dispatch enemies, the combat is not that difficult, it's pretty fun. You have very insane and over exaggerated animations, but after a few hours, that's when my first gripe actually begins. And it's that the combat is becoming way too repetitive and way too boring. You're dispatching the enemies in the same way over and over and over and over and over again, and because you are doing this in a first person, your constant waving of hands in front of you kind of becomes very, well, not boring but infuriating. At least it was for me. And I think it would have been much better if the game was in a third person, because in the beginning the entire premise was reminding me a lot of Control, the game by Remedy. And now I'm thinking if the Control was in the first person, it would have been much worse. And same here, if this game was in third person, I think it would have been a bit better. At least that's in my opinion. And it seemed like first few hours were curated pretty well, because the game was kind of like a development hell for quite a while. I think that this first part was actually made by the people who envisioned the game in the beginning. But then, when open world begins, you are flooded with the Far Cry syndrome. And that's where the game completely broke down for me. Why? Because the world is first insanely empty and insanely samey. Everywhere is the same. It's the same city everywhere, same alleys, same roofs. Everything is the same. There is no variety. Even though it looks absolutely beautiful, there is no denying that it looks very, very beautiful. It's the same. Everywhere is the same. No matter what district you unlock, it's practically the reskin of the same thing. I know that that's usually how cities look like, but well, this is a game where we're fighting demonic creatures who are taking the souls of other people. Maybe we could do something about variety? And yes, you have some traversing abilities allowing you to grapple hook in the air and like glide and things like that from roof to roof, which unlocks more points of interest for you and like more variety of the gameplay, kinda like. But it all breaks down when you will find out how many collectibles in this game are. It's not even funny. It's I think this game beat even Ubisoft with Far Cry and Assassin's Creed. This is insane. The amount of different types of collectibles and amount of collectibles in each type is insane. We're not talking about collecting the 12 things and 14 logs or things like that. We're talking about hundreds of things, like hundreds upon hundreds. Yes, this collecting is giving you some kind of gameplay advantages as well, like giving you more perk points, ability points, and things like that. But the game was not difficult in the first place. You don't really need that, at least if you're playing with a normal difficulty. And this grind is insane. But you know what's the worst part? Despite this game having insane number of collectibles, it's not even that, it won't even take that much to complete everything. Entire game, like 100%ing everything, will probably take you like 40 hours. Yes, like 40 hours. And it's not fun 40 hours. Yes, the story is good. Yes, story is good. It's different. Japanese folklore just looks like oozing from every hole from here, and it looks insanely good. But it's only like 10-15 hours. The story is not even that long. The rest is literally open world BS, which this game didn't need at all. Why this game was an open world in the first place, I have no idea. But okay, let's calm down a bit. Everything can be forgiven if the price is right. The game is not very new, so probably you can get it for the great deal, right? Well, let's find out. Game is available on Steam for the base price of $59.99 for tier 1 countries and $36.99 for tier 2 countries, and can go as low as $23.99 for tier 1 countries and $14.79 for tier 2 countries. Also, game is available on the Game Pass, both on PC and on Xbox. And I played it on a PC. So would I buy this game? Well, to be fair, no. Despite this game being an okay experience, I don't see any reason to tell you that you need to buy this game even for the lowest price recorded. I'm sorry, I feel this way. But if you really want to check this out and you really like the grinding games and want to 100% this game really quickly, more or less compared to other games, then yeah, go and get this game on discount or go and get this game on a Game Pass. But for everyone else, I cannot recommend this game. Don't get me wrong, this is not a bad game, but this is just not a good game either. There are a bunch of other great games that you'll be far better off you're spending money and your time in. But probably it would be much better for me to spend my money and my time in something else. Thankfully, I played it through the Game Pass. And there is also one more thing: technical issues. Despite the game coming out more than a year ago right now, well, game still has technical issues. At least it had for me. It had weird stutters from time to time for no apparent reason, and mouse sensitivity is beyond like sensitive. It just flies around like crazy, and it was pretty difficult for me to set up everything exactly how I wanted. But I won't lie, it was not as uncomfortable as it might seem at first when I said that game had some stutters. Overall, what's my verdict? Oh, unless you really love Japanese folklore and want to play something like that and want to play this game in particular, then I would not advise you to get this game. And if you still want to get it, then get it on a discount. $10 to $25 is the maximum that this game can be bought for. Absolute maximum. And if you skip this game outright and play something else, yeah, you would not be losing anything. At least anything special. At least that's what I think. Well, I guess this should be it for today. Thank you for being here with me. Like the video if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'm gonna see you in the next one.